screen, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh. Alright, ladies and gents, we're back. Drive to Survive breakdown. Today, Season 2, Episode 6. This one, if I had to explain it in one word or one sentence, it is fucking politics of motor racing. It really is. It really, truly is. It's a beautiful sport, ladies and gents. As you know, I used to race myself. But like any sport, there is shitty sides to a sport. And here we see it. Now, if you saw my last episode, we saw that Pierre Gasly at Red Bull was really, quote, struggling, but it was only because the team were absolutely screwing with him. And this is the continuation. So, in a way, today, the Season 2, Episode 6, this really is actually Season 2, Episode 5, Part B. Because now, we get into Alex Albon replacing Pierre Gasly and taking over that seat halfway through the season, which never happens, guys, alright? Like, it barely ever happens where you replace a driver mid-season. Okay, so, let's get into it. Right at the start of the episode, we have Pierre Gasly. And good old Pierre, he's now in front of the Netflix crew, and they're interviewing him now. They're asking him about the what's next for him. So, between Season 2, Episode 5 and this one, guys, at the end of Season 5, we see Alex Albon has now replaced Gasly at Red Bull's seat. What's happened to Gasly? Gasly's now been booted back to the Toro Rosso, which is the Red Bull number 2 team. So, right here we see Gasly, he says to the guys, right guys, I want you to tell the truth. Now, I think that was a little bit premature of him. In other words, he wants to make sure that there's no bullshit going out. He can't say very much either because he's still part of the Red Bull outfit. But he just doesn't want any bullshit going out either. So I think he's just being a little bit cautious here of what's going to happen next. And believe me, I know this type of the racing, the politics, guys, it's insane. To Christian Horner, and Horner says, well, if you can't cope with the pressure in Formula 1, you won't make it. Now, he's telling the truth. In other words, if you keep crashing, if you just don't fucking push the car and you're not quick enough, well, of course you're not going to last. But these guys, you know, a lot of you would say, well, I don't rate this guy, I don't rate this guy. But, you know, at the end of the day, they should be able to drive those cars because they've gone up through the ladder in karting, guys. And they should be able to drive these cars well enough, right? Okay, they should have like, worst case scenario, they should be 2-3 tenths off the pace. Doesn't sound like a huge amount, but believe me, in racing world, it's an enormous amount of time. Enormous amount of time. But he's really addressing the Pierre Gasly part here. Okay? He really is. And this is where the politics comes in. Now again, we're gonna get into it in just a little bit more here now in just a few moments. So, then we flash over to Albon. Now, this is a very, very interesting part here, guys. And this is, I don't know if Alex Albon is a genius or he just decided to do this. He's English and he's Thai. But like he says in this part of the episode here now, he says that he has to choose one nationality. Because, look, I was in motorsport. You have to know, or they have to know where you're from, what country. So, I'm an Irish guy. I said, yep, guys, I'm an Irish guy. Boom. And that was it. Very simple. But they have to know where you're from. You can't choose two nationalities. You have to pick the one. And he's dead right in that, and he's telling you the truth. So it's interesting because he's got an English passport and he's got a Thai passport. Now, what tells me here is that the politics of motor racing, guys, is so deep, neck deep with you, that for a lot of drivers, if you're an English racing driver, you've got a lot better chance of making it into Formula One than a lot of other nationalities. So, for instance, let me give you an example. When I was driving, because I was an Irish driver, there's 4 million people, or there was 4 million people back in my day. And if I'm up against, let's say, an identical twin version of me, the English Peter Walsh versus the Irish Peter Walsh, the English Peter Walsh would have a way better chance of making it to Formula One. Why? Because the Irish Peter Walsh has 4 million viewers in Ireland that potentially could watch Formula One versus the population of the United Kingdom. Forgive me if I'm a bit off here, but it's roughly 60 million people in England. The United Kingdom. So therefore, there's more chance of a lot more people watching the English Peter Walsh versus the Irish Peter Walsh. Makes sense, right? There's more people, therefore, there's more of a chance that you're going to pick up a lot more fans. You have a lot more fans, guess what happens? The English Peter Walsh is going to sell more baseball caps, more t-shirts, more fucking underwear, alright, or whatever it is. But that's the way it can go. And England is the heart of motorsport. It always has been and will be. It's the heart of motorsport, and it is. And I mean, it's a great place for motorsport. And it's just the politics of it. You've got a lot of English-based teams as well. So even in these days in 2024, now even back in my day, we didn't have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc., etc. Now, it may have gone a little bit better in terms of you may have picked up more fans, and that could have helped guys back in my day a little bit more. It still doesn't guarantee it because the teams haven't bought into the social media side of things 100% yet. Now, they have for some drivers, but at the same time, you had to be in a certain nationality here, right? And it's like the, if you remember in season 1, I can't remember what episode it was now, where we were discussing when Haas were, hang on, I'm sorry guys, Jesus Christ, am I going all over the place here? Have we got to that stage yet? Ugh, I'm sorry guys if I fucked that up. But okay, but I will mention this. There's a part in Drive to Survive where Gunther Haas is at Haas and he's trying to get a new driver. Now, he's debating who to get into the team. He's struggling to get cash, he's struggling to get sponsorship. This is a big part for every team. So what happens? He has to get a driver that will bring money to the table. And they look at Mick Schumacher. And they brought on Mick Schumacher because they found a German company that would sponsor a German driver. They're not going to take the Irish Peter Walsh guy. They're not going to take even the English Peter Walsh guy, okay? They want a guy from the nationality, where they're from, and in fact, don't quote me, but basically, Gunther, if you give us Mick Schumacher, a German guy with all this, and we're a German company, we'll give you the money, boyo. So it's not about the talent at the end of the day. It's not. It's not. Yes, you have to be able to drive the cars. Of course you have to. You'd hope that they'd all be able to do it, right? But a lot of it is politics, guys. Now, back to the point. Alex Albon decides to choose between either English nationality or Thai nationality. He chooses Thai. Now, why would he choose Thai when the Thai drivers in the world don't have huge amount of drivers that have ever been. In fact, I can't even think at the top of my head how many Thai drivers there's ever been. I can tell you this, if there's been any, there's been about 2. There's been about 2, maybe 3. But the point is this, it was a risk for him, or was it a risk for him? We're going to come back to that in just a few moments, so I'm going to leave you hang on that one. Then we fast forward onto the Formula 2, right? They're showing Albon that he progressed from Formula 2, which is just below Formula 1 level, and many of you probably have seen this already, where you see the Formula 2 support races at the Formula 1 weekends. And some of the racing is awesome, and they're showing it, and they're saying that the teams watch Formula 2, as in the Formula 1 teams are keeping an eye, a very close eye on Formula 2. Well, look, they are and they're not. I mean, you gotta give it to the Formula 1 teams here. They're too busy at the weekends to be watching every single race and every single lap. They're on the same circuit and same, you could call it, tour around the world, right? And they'll get wind that, oh, this guy, Peter Walsh, he won the Formula 2 race today. Oh, did he? Oh, right, okay, I didn't see the race, but oh, right, okay, look, we'll keep an eye on him. But you see, they can always watch the replay or this or that. But the point is this, guys, they're not watching the Formula 2 all the time. They're too busy. Now, Formula 2 guys will have managers, etc., that will be trying to stay in contact with the Formula 1 guys, and, they're there and thereabouts. It's kind of like the office next door to your office, right? They're there. You might see them out every now and then in the canteen for a cup of coffee, right? No, weird comparison, but you know what I mean? They're always around, but you're not watching every fucking thing they're doing here, right? And even the Formula 2 boys, they wouldn't be watching the Formula 1 races all the time. They're too fucking busy at the weekends. Now, every now and then, they'll get to have a scoop, but point is this anyway, guys, they're misleading you a little bit here, alright? And, look, I'm trying to be fair to everybody. They wouldn't be keeping an eye on everything that closely. Now, don't get me wrong, Formula 2, guys, if you've actually never watched it, you should, because I'm telling you, and I've watched it on TV here as a spectator, Formula 2 delivers some fantastic racing. And I think it's Martin Brundle, as we know Martin Brundle from Formula 1. His son is actually one of the commentators. He actually sounds very like him too. It's very freaky. But he's actually quite good, in fairness. He's entertaining. I think he's got energy, he's got passion in his voice. Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it, guys. So you should definitely check out Formula 2. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. At least 1 or 2 races. Okay, and then we move on to Helmut Marko. We just discussed him very briefly in the last episode, Season 2, Episode 5, where Helmut is, in general, this guy's, I would even call him Christian Horner's partner. Now, he's not necessarily, he's meant to be the junior driver program head of operations, whatever you call his name. I don't even know his title here, right? Exactly what you'd call him. Because he's always around the Formula 1 paddock. But yet, apparently Helmut Marko is the guy that is responsible for bringing the younger talent that's not in Formula 1, that's trying to make their way up. And then he has a chat, he keeps an eye on the talent, right, this guy's good, that guy's good, let's keep an eye on these two. And then he may choose between, okay, let's get him in, or no, we won't go for him. And then he'll have a chat to Christian Horner, then they'll bring him into Formula 1. So, hard to know exactly, because if he's that busy, well, why is he around the Formula 1 paddock all the time? So I think he's a bit of a multifunctional guy, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't understand why they still give him that title of junior operations manager, whatever you call it, okay? Because he'd be too bloody busy at the weekends. He wouldn't be hanging around the F1 paddock all the time, you know? But he's definitely a big part of the Red Bull team. There's no two ways about it. Christian Horner, Helmut Marko are a team, like Niki Lauda and Mercedes. When Niki Lauda, God rest his soul, may he rest in peace, when he was around, and Toto Wolff and himself at Mercedes were kind of like a combo. Helmut Marko, Christian Horner, definitely a combo. Now, here's another part, which, again, this is tying in with Season 2, Episode 5, guys, right? Gasly now is put back to Toro Rosso, the Red Bull's second team. So let's just flashback or rewind just a few steps. As we just highlighted and we've seen, Gasly was in the Red Bull. They didn't want him there. They boot him out of the Red Bull driver team. And now where they put him? They replace him with Alex Albon. Alex Albon goes into Gasly's seat at Red Bull. So where does Gasly go? And where do they put him, guys? They put him back into Toro Rosso, Red Bull's team number 2. Now, you see, again, this is where I'm calling BS, right? And, you know, I'm trying, like I said, I'm like a broken record, I know. I'm sounding very broken recordy here. Why on earth, like we've seen in episode 5, right? The way the team were so anti-Pierre Gasly. Why would you put a guy who you do not rate, who you do not want around the place? You're just bullying the guy. And all of a sudden, you put him back in as the number 1 driver in your second team? Like, my point is, if you didn't want him around, surely be to God, he just wouldn't be around Formula 1 anymore. He'd have to be going to different teams trying to look for a new contract here. He'd be gone. Non-existent with Red Bull. Because remember, guys, Red Bull team and Toro Rosso are part of the same umbrella outfit. They're like a package deal. Toro Rosso is the second Red Bull team. I mean, I'll put it this way to you. Yes, you've got a team boss at Toro Rosso, but I'll put it this way to you. If Christian Horner decided that he's going to call the shots at a race weekend, right, and butt in Toro Rosso, believe you me, everybody would drop what they're doing and say, okay, Christian, what do you need? Okay, no problem. Okay, let's do it. Done. So Christian Horner lets them off. He lets them do what they need to do. But if he really wants to jump in, he will jump in and call the shots here. Okay? So it was Christian Horner's decision to put him back to Toro Rosso. Believe you me. Now, again, back to my point. Why would you bring him back if he was that goddamn bad, like we see in episode 5? Why would you take the risk? And again, it's back to my point, is that they wanted someone else in there and they had to make up excuses. They had to put this guy under serious, made up pressure to get him out of the team. This is the dirty side of motor racing, guys. It's ugly, and you know, it's fucking ugly. It's fucking ugly. And it's not right. It's stupid. I don't get it. Now, then again, sorry, I'll go back on that a little bit. I do get it because we're about to find out in about 2 minutes, okay? So you have to just bear with me. But I'll leave you at that. Why on earth would you put him back into your second team? What, because the second team just want to make up numbers? No, of course not. Of course, Christian Horner, he wants Toro Rosso to do well to a degree. He wants them to do well to a degree. In other words, I want my number 1 Red Bull team winning first and second, or, well, whatever. But look, hey, if Toro Rosso finish 8th, 9th, and 10th, or 9th, 10th, they finish in the points. Brilliant! Delighted! It's a Brucey bonus for him. He'd be delighted with that. But certainly he doesn't want them to beat the number 1 team. That's for sure. Then just very quickly we see Gasly being interviewed. And of course, he can't get into the nitty-gritty. He can't talk about the politics side of things because, again, he's part of the Red Bull outfit. If he starts bitching and moaning here, he could get fired completely out of the whole Red Bull outfit and he's gone. So he's got to be very, very careful what he says here. And look, we see that in different sports as well. You know, people have holding back. And look, you can't blame him to a degree. You know, I mean, even I don't know all the ins and outs of what happened in the background. We see a bit of it on Netflix, which was just horrible for him. Horrible for him. But again, depending on the scenario, He still wants to stay in Formula 1? In fact, I don't know. Actually, the more I think of it, I don't know. You know, you be saying to yourself, Jesus, man, just tell these guys to go fuck themselves. But, you know, until you're in that situation and how bad it is, you know, did he get a bonus even going back to Toro Rosso? Did he get a bonus? Maybe he did. A signing bonus back. Maybe he got a longer contract to stay in Formula 1. We don't know the ins and outs. So, again, it's hard to talk about that one in much detail. And then we flash over to Gasly, and then the interviewer asks him, so do you have any advice for Alex Albon now starting on Red Bull? And we see Pierre Gasly laugh. Now, I know that laugh. I've seen this laugh before. That laugh was not a, I'm better than you, asshole. No. Pierre Gasly went, you've no fucking idea what you're about to go into here, lad. You've no idea what you're about to go into. And because you can tell, Gasly's just like, at this stage, he knows. You know, I think he did have some doubts when he was in the team. If you know what I mean, guys, you know, sometimes you're in a situation and you can have confusion, right? And I'm not talking about just Formula 1 here. I'm talking about general day-to-day life, right? You're around somebody and they're trying to head fuck you. All of a sudden you can't fucking think and you're like, okay, what the hell? What? And, you know, they're in your... They're fucking at you every fucking 4 seconds, right? And it's only until you actually have a little bit of a break away from the people, then you kind of go, oh my God. Now it's clear as day. So I think Gasly got to this moment right here when he had that laugh out loud. Because in fairness, he's looking quite comfortable. He's looking quite confident, right? He'd still be hurting a little bit, right? He doesn't, you know, he'd have a little bit of, I wouldn't say embarrassment. Or maybe that is the word, embarrassment, or kind of humiliated, or oh God, everybody's going to be looking at me now and oh, Jesus Christ, what am I going to say or do? Or, you know what I mean? Or his ego was hurt. And you know, your heart would go out to Gasly here on this one. Very, very tough, especially mid-season. Getting booted out of your team that you were fucking in for the whole fucking year, for Christ's sake. Then all of a sudden you're gone. But you can tell from that laugh, it's like, yeah, okay, man, okay. And I think it's more because Gasly would know the politics of Formula 1, right? Which I was just talking to you about, you know, if you had the Irish Peter versus the English Peter, right? And Gasly would know this, but I think at the end of the day, he'll still know that he's probably laughing at the fact that, oh, you've no idea, this is all about Max Verstappen. They will screw you over in a heartbeat, Alex, if it comes to fucking around with Max Verstappen. I think that's what it is. Nothing screws with the golden jewel, who is Max Verstappen. Okay, and then we get into Alex Albon's mum. Now, many of you may or may not have known this. Alex Albon's mum went to jail for fraud. Now, I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, and quite honestly, guys, I would suggest maybe Google it. Maybe you can find some more information. I got very confused. I'm not saying go off and do it yourselves. I don't give a shit. No, I'm not saying that, lads. It's just very hard to get the accurate information. Some people were saying she was stealing money, she was laundering money, she was doing this, she was doing that. It's just so all over the place. God only knows what the truth is. However, what we do know is this. Let me see my notes here. She got a 6-year prison sentence. And she got out. She was only in there for 3 years, though. She went in there for 2012 to 2015. Now, you gotta hand it to Alex Albon here. This fucker is only 15 years of age and he's got to look after his younger kids. The dad's not even around. We don't even know if he had a minder. He must have obviously had somebody over 18 keeping an eye on him, etc, etc. There's no way you could just have a couple of 15-year-olds younger roaming around the house. So we don't know all the ins and outs of it. And he even said in the interview he doesn't want to go into it too much. So we obviously don't know everything. But Jesus, not having your mum around at that age, that's very, very tough for a racing driver, because even I know that. Even, you know, my mum and my dad, they were my rocks when I was growing up in racing. They were wonderful, very supportive, and you need them around. So, you know, my heart goes out to the guy. Very, very tough scenario for him to be in when his mum is in jail. So yeah, we didn't get much information out of that, but at least that's what we do know. She was in prison for 3 years. The question that I left pending, guys, why did Alex Albon not go for an English passport and he went with the Thai passport? The country Thai has not had many Formula 1 drivers in Formula 1 at all, in motorsport in general. So why not decide to go for English? Guess what happens? Drum roll. Alex Albon gets a Thai sponsor. And he got the Thai sponsor when he was a younger guy, probably 15, 16. And that actually allowed him to continue in racing. If he didn't get that sponsor, he probably wouldn't be there right now. So I don't know if you'd call Alex Albon a genius and he knew this going forward, or he got some advice from a parent or an aunt, uncle, I don't know, your fucking next door neighbor, God only knows. But if anything, you would have been putting your money on getting the English passport because it would have technically have helped you. But he got the Thai money, Thai sponsor, and it worked out for him very, very well. So then we flash over to Spa, Belgium. This is obviously his first race with Red Bull. And he did okay. 3/10 off Hamilton. That's what they're showing at the moment. Now, it wouldn't have been 3/10, I don't think, right at the start, but he was getting to a stage where in some areas in qualifying, could have been qualifying 1 or 2, that he was 3/10 off. But he did a decent job. And hey, of course you should. He was in Toro Rosso before this, so why wouldn't you do a decent enough job going into Red Bull, right? Track, Spa, Belgium, great track. He knows the track. But hey, decent enough result from him. In fairness, we're going to give him that. Okay, now this one here kind of gets a bit very intense here. So then we see, guys, we flash over to the Formula 2, the support race at that weekend. And we see Antoine Hubert. He has a crash. He loses his life in the Formula 2 race. He's Alex Albon's friend. He's Pierre Gasly's friend. I think he's Charles Leclerc's friend. And sad to see. Started actually making me tear up. I'm being serious. I started tearing up when I watched this again here, because it reminds me of my days when I knew people who very close to me who lost their lives racing and around me. It's incredibly intense. And you can see then that was on the Saturday. Then on the Sunday, you see all the drivers lined up, and they're doing a moment of silence for the guy, and I could just see it all written all over their faces that I knew exactly what they were feeling, these guys. It's a very, very, very raw, vulnerable, scary moment. That moment before that race. Because just only 24 hours before this guy, Hubert, gets killed in a car. The drivers are terrified right here. Now, I can tell you, they are pumping on adrenaline. I don't care if they didn't even sleep the night before, if they haven't had anything to eat all day, or even the day after, or the day beforehand, after everything this happened. These guys would be on insane adrenaline for this whole day. And and I gotta hand it to Christian Horner. He says that they all think that that could have been me. He's saying that that's what the F1 drivers would have thought. And we've all had our close moments. I'm even kind of getting a bit emotional here talking about this, because that is exactly what does go through your mind. It could be me. Jesus Christ, that could have been me really easily. It's tough, guys. It's very, very tough. It's brings back memories. You don't forget it. You never forget it. You never forget it. You don't get over it either. I mean, these are my battle scars, you could call them, if you want to call them that. You learn to live with it. You do. You learn to live with it. And, and then we flash over to Christian. He's in the pit garage with the team and Alex. And he's just coming over to check on Alex. And Alex says, I think I slept about 2 hours last night, and something like that. I'm surprised he slept at all, because he was very, very close to Hubert. And look, I don't know, maybe he was probably wrong, and whatever. It's okay. It's nothing to worry about. But I would say he slept fuck all that night. And then some people were wondering, all right, when Christian Horner was trying, and and that's what I liked about Christian Horner, even though a lot of people thought this came across very, very strange. Christian Horner turned to him, and he genuinely did try to console him, make himself just, make Albon relax a little, And I gotta admit to Christian Horner, he can be an a-hole. He can be an asshole whenever he wants. But, at the end of the day, this guy, he really does care. He really does. And this is what I love about him. And he turned to Alex and he said, Hubert would have given his right arm to be where you are right now, Alex. Now, some people kind of go, what? What does that mean? What does that mean? And actually, what Christian Horner means is be grateful for what you have. Just be grateful for what you have. And he doesn't mean as in, hey, you selfish little prick, be fucking grateful. He doesn't mean it like that. Absolutely not. He just wants his driver to just look at things in a grateful attitude. And I think that's a very good way, a healthy way to look at things. Even though I even thought at the start as well, why is he saying that? But then there was a bit of uproar about it as well. People were like, what the fuck is he on about? But I get it. I get why people were on about that. But no, Christian Horner meant that in a good way. He really genuinely did. And I'm standing up for the guy on that one. A lot of people think that Christian Horner doesn't have a heart. The guy has a heart. He does. Okay, this is where I swing around on a 180 with Christian Horner now, though. Horner gives it away again, though, right? Where there is a number 1 and number 2 driver. And he's saying to the interviewer on Netflix, we need Alex to deliver at the weekends, because if Max doesn't deliver, we need him there. Now, as we see at Spa, Max has a crash, a tip crash at turn 1, and he goes off in Eau Rouge, which is the next corner ahead. So yeah, a crash at turn 1, screws his car, and he retires. So they're out. So now they have to rely on Alex Albon. So, but the thing is here, why would Christian Horner say we need him to deliver if Max doesn't? This is another giveaway. Now, I know what some people would say, well, hang on, Peter, that makes sense. Yeah, of course, he wants his 2 drivers. But what he does, see, I know the racing world. What he's actually saying here is, what he should be saying is we need both drivers in a 1-2 position to score as many points as we can, because Max will probably win for us because he's better than Alex Albon, and if he doesn't, if something happens to him, well then at least we've got a second chance to win the race and score as many points as we can. Now, I know that's being very, very specific, but for me, that tells me a lot. Well, it's obvious you want your 2 drivers, right? Right? It's obvious you want your 2 drivers up there. But what happens if Alex was better than Max on a day? You know what I mean? Like, he's saying, oh, well, if Max doesn't deliver, we need Alex to jump in and fall in. So what he's saying is, so Max is going to be the golden boy every single race weekend. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. I've even said this 1,000 times, right? Some days, Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, Fangio, Hamilton, Mika Hakkinen, whoever, Max Verstappen, right? Alex Albon. Everybody's got a good and everybody's got a bad day. So that doesn't mean that the greatest racing driver of all time is going to win every single day. No. What he should be really addressing is we need both our drivers up here scoring as many points as we can, so if one fucks up, the other one jumps in. But he's basically saying if Max doesn't deliver, we need Alex to jump in. Do you see what I mean here? You know, it's all coming from Max's point of view. It's all coming from Max winning or not winning. I hope I'm making sense, guys. Maybe you think I'm full of shit on that one. I'm not. But, you know, there's a lot to be said, even just that one too. It's those little tiny things that he says. And, okay, then we finish off with Albon finishing 5th. So, hey, all right, you know, it's okay. It's fine. The Red Bull car is not the best car out there this year, as we see in episode 2. So you'd expect them to be finishing maybe 3rd or 4th, right? So actually, and it was his first debut out in the Red Bull, that was actually a very good result. Even though Gasly was getting a 5th, 6th and 7th, but that wasn't good enough. You know? But they're all jumping up and down, swinging, because remember guys, in this year, both Mercedes and both Ferraris are doing better in general than the Red Bull. So Verstappen, yeah, he wins a couple of races this year, but, you know, really they should be in 3rd, 4th, 5th. Right? So even a 5th place for Gasly or Albon or Verstappen, it's not the end of the world here. That's exactly where they would be in the pecking order comparing to Ferrari and Mercedes. You know? And remember guys, in this season, Red Bull are not at the peak like they are in 2024 here. Or 23 or 22. Or even 21. You can even argue that one. So, you know, it's just the inconsistencies, guys. You know? Oh, 5th place is great for this guy, but it's crap for him. No, we can't be taking a 5th and 6th over here, but, oh, he finished 5th and 6th. Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. Well done. What a result. Amazing. Do you know what I mean? No, hey, guys, you know I go hard at it sometimes, but you know what? This is why we love motorsport, man. This is why we love Netflix Drive to Survive. We see this shit in the background, and this is why we love Formula 1, because you got characters in Formula 1. You really do. Corruption, the cowboyism, it's unbelievable sometimes what some of these guys get up to. But that's what makes this sport so fucking brilliant too. And of course, good quality fast cars. It's awesome. So anyway guys, that is it for this round. And of course, we will be back for more Formula 1 and of course more Drive to Survive. So coming up next will be Season 2, Episode 7. And obviously, like guys, I just want to give you my timetable. If you don't know it already, I'm on a podcast Monday to Fridays, 1 podcast a day. Monday and Fridays is always motor racing, Drive to Survive. On a Monday or Friday are a Grand Prix preview or a highlight show of an actual current Formula 1 race. And that's every Monday or Friday. And Friday, sorry. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, dating, general chit-chat. We're going to talk about health and wellness, etc., etc. So, thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you later.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.